Sir makes me feel like a BC lecturer already. You're most welcome to this afternoon's session. We are here for the public lecture of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons as we celebrate 20 years of hard work, 20 years of teaching and learning, and 20 years of the Lord's goodness upon us as a college. This morning, as I was preparing for this program, a psalm came to my mind. It said, "What shall I render unto the Lord for his manifold blessings upon us?" And it is this song and this spirit that we join hands together this afternoon to listen to some great words of wisdom from some seasoned personalities that I would refer to as the ancients of times. On that note, I would like to welcome you. My name is Dr. Nana Kofi Edu Afare, and I'm a member of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons Family Medicine Faculty. To kickstart this afternoon's program, we need to commit ourselves to the hands of God. And to help us do that is one of our own. Personally, he's an uncle to me and a mentor in that regard. Dr. Henry Lawson, the Vice Rector for the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. Please, let's give him a big round of applause. Let's keep clapping.
It's okay. It's okay. May we please rise for the opening prayer? Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful to you for this afternoon. Your word says it's unto you that the gathering of your people will be. And where two or more are gathered, you are there in their midst. We thank you, Father, that you are here with us. We commit this program into your hands. Pray that you lead us, guide us. The target audience, which is the public, will learn something from this lecture. And that we want to also thank you for how far you have brought the college, 20 years of postgraduate medical training. As we forge ahead, I pray that at this session, you will guide us, open our minds, open the future, grant us your guidance and your grace, innovations, so that as we ponder and discuss, the college will move for another 20 years in your glory. We commit everything into your hands. We pray that all will go well. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you, Osofo Lawson. Though I have attempted to welcome us, there is a gentleman well-seasoned amongst us who would give us a proper welcome. He is the president of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons and a member of the College Council, an astute academician by all standards, none other than our own Professor Samuel Deborah. Please let's give you a big round of applause. I am not surprised the young are clapping so loud because they all aspire to be like Prof. Prof, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. I don't think I deserved all that was said. Chairman of Council, Professor Yodi Jemfi, Chairperson of the occasion, Vice President of the College, Rector of the College, Vice Rector, previous rectors, distinguished inviteds, fellows of the college, press corps, ladies and gentlemen. It is with extreme pleasure that I welcome you all to the second of our public lectures to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the founding of our esteemed college. I have looked forward to this event not only because of the chosen topic and its expected delivery, but also I intend to use the opportunity to thank the presenter publicly for his immense contribution to the success of Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. I've always said I went into medicine by divine intervention. For how else do you explain a child born in Tanoso, raised in Chira, and went to Sunyani Secondary School in the 60s, could ever make it through the mighty portals of University of Ghana Medical School? But if going into medicine was by divine intervention, choosing my career as a surgeon was teleguided by man, or rather in my case, by men. I must say there were two brilliant surgeons who inspired me during my undergraduate days. The first was a rather small man, but with imperials, with underlings, but erudite amongst his peers. He has sadly passed. May his soul rest in peace. And per contra, the second was a tall, charismatic, younger surgeon whose dazzling surgical skills held us spellbound as if it was poetry in motion. But their differences obscured one profound similarity. They both had a towering, relentless ambition and attention to detail. I said poetry in motion because our presenter is indeed a poet. He could easily have made his name in poetry as he has in surgery. Indeed, this man from Galo Sota in the Volta region can only be described as God's rare gift to mankind. The gestation period of our college was marked by a fractious, internecine debate as to whether or not the college should be formed at all. And I'm told he was the lead advocate against the naysayers, without which the college would have been stillborn. The genesis of the college's recent innovative improvements can be traced back to his famous report by his task force. For these and several observations, we say thank you. Finally, let me recall in the morning. Those of us who are surgeons will know this. On old Olympus towering tops, which for non-surgeons was a mnemonic for us to remember the cranial nerves. But who can decipher the hidden mysteries behind insection sankofa and AI? This is a topic delivered by who else? A surgeon and a poet, our own Professor Ladi Wosunu.
I think that one was for me. A bigger one for Prof. An interesting Sankofa and AI. How many of us here remember Chaskele? In fact, let me concentrate on this side. For here, I know everybody remembers Chaskele. How many of us play Chaskele on this East Coast? Interesting. Today, AI comes with Sankofa. I would want to introduce or actually invite to the high table the following individuals. So please, if you kindly hear your name, kindly be here with us. Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi. Professor Yao Edu Jemfi. Prof. Sam Deborah. Professor Pius Abonoku. The rector of the college, Prof. Richard Adanu. Is Prof around? Oh, okay. And Dr. Rita Lassen Randolph. About a few years ago, I have a nephew. He was in class 1, getting ready to go to school. My nephew's name is Jojo. And he was busily crying one Monday morning. And we asked him, Jojo, why are you crying? He says, I want 1 Ghana cedi. And we asked, for what? He says, I just want 1 Ghana cedi. We kept on asking because he already has a lunch box. He has calipo. He has his lunch in there. He has an apple in there. His mother said, Jojo, let me add 2 fingers of banana. He said, no, I want 1 Ghana cedi. All because Jojo had learned, as smart as he was in class 1, that if you're a student and you are filling a form, when it gets to occupation, what do you write? If you're a student and you are filling a form and you get to occupation, what do you write? Student. But his understanding is that if you have an occupation, you must be paid. So his pay for that Monday morning was the 1 Ghana cedi. So I said, Jojo, you know 1 Ghana cedi won't do anything. Wait, when you grow up, you said, Uncle, you think class 1 is a joke? Why do I share the story? You can see a lot of gray hair upstage, right? Hello? If class 1 is not a joke, then you can imagine what professor will be. Let's give them a big round of applause. This afternoon, we are celebrating greatness, we are celebrating hard work, and we are celebrating God's goodness upon us. And to help me drive this seat is my co-pilot, who just landed from London, the Queensland, and was actually getting her luggage out. That's why she was a bit late. My only Dr. Florence Akumia. Florence, join me here. Please, let's give it up for her.
Good afternoon to everybody here. A special good afternoon to our distinguished panelists. Today, we are having our second public lecture. And if you were here for the first public lecture, you know that you have to hold your breath because a lot is going to go down. And there's a lot of history, there's a lot of new information that we are going to get, especially given our speaker for the day. But before we have our speaker come in, I'll introduce the council chairman who would be here to give us the address. The council chairman is the person of Professor Yao Edujemfi. He wears many coats. You may know him as a minister, you may know him as an anesthesiologist. He is well read, he's also a writer. He also is the council chairman of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, and he's going to give us the opening address. Professor Yao Edujemfi.
Good afternoon. I am most flattered to be described as a minister. But I'm not sure whether it's a political minister or a priestly minister. I think I would rather want the latter. Looking at my brother sitting here, Professor Frimpong Boateng, I'm sure he's not regretting being a minister, but I'm sure he'll have a thing or two to say about this. Madam Chairperson, guest speaker Zikpito, Professor Ladewo Sonu, President of the College, Vice Presidents, past Presidents, and past Vice Presidents, Togwe Watri and Madam, Asafa Chanuno, I haven't seen you for 40 years. Mrs. and Miss Arthur, Rector, Fellows of the College, Fellows of the Academy of Arts and Sciences who are here, members of the college, students. In fact, I recognize all you distinguished people. It's a great pleasure to be standing before you this afternoon to welcome you to this lecture. the second in the 20th anniversary series. And as custom demands, I'm required to make some remarks. At the last public lecture, I indicated during my introductory remarks that the College of Physicians and Surgeons as an enterprise was still, and still is, work in progress. This will continue to be so for as long as the college makes serious attempts to assess and reflect the emerging health needs of our communities and incorporates the dynamic changes into the training programs. I must acknowledge that the college got out to a very good start under the able, innovative, and resourceful leadership and efforts of the first administration that laid down the routines that have guided us to date. The college got a home, a library was established, a museum set up, training started, and the first graduates came out in 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, I applaud those inception administrators and may God bless them. They saw the need for change in the law to allow for appropriate and facilitated delivery on the vision and mission of the college. Hence, they canvassed for changes in the law, Act 633, which was superseded by Act 833, whose legislative instrument is yet to be completed to strengthen the operations of the college. The college is now at a juncture which demands that it must redouble its efforts in supporting the overambitious universal healthcare agenda, namely health for all by 2030, which calls for closer collaboration between the college, Ghana Health Service, and the Ministry of Health. I commend the Ghana Health Service for its support for the decentralization efforts by the college. The Ministry of Health has, however, been very slow to put in place the appropriate fiduciary arrangement to be backed by law to assure funding for training. Current fiscal arrangement to support the training is ad hoc at best. It makes it difficult to keep pace with the equitable, affordable, and accessible healthcare expansion efforts of government. Our communities also need the services for which the college is training human resource. The Ministry of Health must do all it can to assure fiscal stability for the college, possibly backed by law. The college is at the crossroads as it redoubles its efforts to achieve financial stability, decentralization, and acceleration of training without sacrificing quality. The Council is making every feasible effort to support the Academic Board in its endeavors. But all stakeholders are welcome to contribute progressive ideas, especially in the area of quality assurance of the products of the college. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the lecture to come. And once again, I bid you welcome.
Thank you so much, Prophet Ejimfi. I don't know if you've been to Kumasi before, but once you get to Kumasi, you wouldn't want to leave. So if we have a guest coming all the way from Kumasi to join us today for this second public lecture, then you should know that a lot of sacrifice has been made and a lot of dedication to the college is at play. So to introduce the chairperson, we have Professor Pius Abenoku, who is the Vice President, Division of Surgeons of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, and a member of the College Council. Professor Abenoku.
Thank you very much. Again, I welcome all of you to this program. Our council chairman and our president, the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, all other protocols duly observed. I am totally humbled to be asked to introduce the chairman for the second public lecture for our college's 20th anniversary. We are aware that our functions as one of these are of top level category in our country, implying that we need a certain type of dynamism in our programs of such nature. For today, our chairman is the founder and executive director of Salt and Light Ministries, a Ghanaian para-church organization that motivates and encourages Christians to be the best that God has created them to be. A management and communication consultant, this person serves on the boards of several organizations, including Newmont Ghana Gold Limited, Newmont Golden Ridge Limited, Chirano Gold Mines Limited, and College of Education, University of Ghana, the Roman Ridge School, Data Bank, Arc Fund, among many others. This person is a former president of the Bible Society of Ghana and the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Central University. In recognition of her, now I say her, so you know I'm referring to a woman now. You caught me, yes? I didn't want that to happen, but it has happened. So let me continue. In recognition of her immense contribution to the growth of the mining industry, the University of Mines and Technology, UMAT, conferred a Doctor of Letters degree, honoris causa, on our chairman in July 2009. She has also received many prestigious awards, including Ghana's second highest national award, the Companion of the Order of the Volta, in the year 2006. She is an honorary fellow of the Institute of Directors and the Chartered Institute of Supply Chain Management. Recently, Central University conferred a Doctor of Communication Arts degree, honoris causa, on this person, important person, in May 2021. His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei II, life patron of the Millennium Excellence Foundation, conferred on her the Millennium Pride for Leadership and Contribution to National Development. I want you to clap for that. If Otumfuo confers on you, that was something very great. This was in recognition of her meritorious work in the areas of motivation and outstanding clergy policies in Ghana in July 2021. She was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Ghana CEOs Awards in April 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, our chairman was the former chief executive officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, where she served for 10 years. She's also the first woman to head an African Chamber of Mines, the very first woman. This person I'm referring to, and you'll see her very soon, has dedicated well over 40 years service to the public and private sectors in our country, Ghana. Well done, madam. She is the executive chairman of Harmonious Choral and a passionate promoter of Ghanaian sacred, classical, and choral compositions. She is a member of the Beach chapter of the Full Gospel Businessmen's International Fellowship and a preacher and a teacher of the Word of God. She's an Osofo then. Today's chairman has been associated with the college for a very long time. She has been on the college's endowment fund board for a very long time, and the college has raised a lot of money through her efforts. Last year at our annual AGSM dinner, she was the guest of honor. Professor President, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I guess after hearing all this about our chairperson, you would be interested to know the basis of all her achievements. I'm very much interested to know how she managed to achieve all this. So I'll tell you a little bit of it, please. It is on record that Madame Joyce graduated from the Haggai Institute, an internationally known leadership training institute founded by the late Dr. Edmond Haggai. She was one of the very first students that had extensive accelerated program at the newly opened Haggai facility in Maui in the year 1989. Most of you were not born. Incidentally, there was a problem in Haggai now, in that area, Maui now. There's fire going there. And we pray that the fire will stop. As soon as Madame comes to the stage, I'm sure God will hear us again, and the fire will not get the Haggai building at all. Amen. If you follow international news, please. It's a serious thing in the U.S., that part. So 34 years ago, a few of us in this auditorium benefited from that. Madam holding me, but you will permit me to finish up.
All right, I'll stand beside you.
You stand by me. Good. At Haggai, Madam Joyce was taught all the complex issues of leadership. That is why she's a leader today. I'm sure without Haggai, you wouldn't have reached this far. I'm promoting Haggai, not in the sense that I was a student of Haggai also, but most people here are. And I recommend that those who can get a chance to go there, do go and learn how to lead from your very home, your school, your environment, your college, our nation. What I told about Madame Joyce is just a little. If we are to go on further and further, we will not live here today. That's why she has come to stop me. So our council chairman, president, ladies and gentlemen, may I humbly present to you the chairperson for today's public lecture, the second in the series, Reverend Dr. Joyce Rosalind Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Pius. Good afternoon, everybody, especially those of you who are students. Good afternoon. Her Excellency Matilda and I don't remember when we were last your age, which shows how old we are. Professor, Council Chairman, and all the professors arrayed over there, please permit me, apart from mentioning Togbe and Mama and the speaker, to say, as the Nigerians say, all other protocols observed. I'm deeply honored and privileged to be a part of this momentous occasion, the celebration of the 20th anniversary and public lecture on, well, the theme I was given was 2 decades of medical postgraduate training in Ghana, but I see here that it is even more interesting: Inception, Sankofa, and AI. I can't wait to hear the surgeon poet speak. This event marks a significant milestone in the journey of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, and it provides the opportunity to reflect on the strides that have been made, as well as the challenges that need to be overcome in the realm of medical education and specialization. And I'm happy that the college chairman talked of the fact that it's still a work in progress. However, over the past 2 decades, the landscape of medical postgraduate training in Ghana has evolved significantly, shaping the trajectory of healthcare delivery and advancing medical knowledge in our nation, and indeed in nations within Africa. Today we come together not only to celebrate the achievements so far, but to rekindle the spirit of innovation, collaboration, and dedication that has brought the college thus far. So let us use this occasion to acknowledge the efforts of those who have tirelessly contributed to the growth of medical postgraduate training in Ghana, from educators and mentors to medical practitioners and policymakers. With hearts filled with gratitude, we extend our sincerest appreciation to each individual who has played a part in nurturing the next generation of specialized medical professionals. For those of us here, we give glory to God for participating in this momentous occasion. And so, let's all sit relax and embark on this journey of reflection, celebration, as well as exploration together. With these few remarks, let me say how very honored and privileged I feel to be the chair for the occasion. I'm glad there's a moderator, and I'm glad that there are MCs. I'm going to sit very comfortably in the chair over there, and I can assure you it's more comfortable than those down there. College, these chairs are most unfriendly to seniors, and so perhaps you should do something about it. Thank you.
Please, let's give a big round of applause to our chairperson. Prof. Abunoku, please forgive me. I should have given you the warning sign. So the last time I tried reading her profile, when I started the first 2 sentences, before I realized she was beside me, all I heard was, "Give me the microphone." And what could I do? Just to say, "Yes, ma." Thank you very much, Madam Joyce Aye. So we have a moderator and no other person than a big sister and a mentor again to me. Way back in Kumasi, I was her resident, actually a house officer and her resident. She's a health manager and an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. They say if you want to confuse them, then you say otorhinolaryngologist. Hello. Have I confused you? Not yet. So what is auto? It's not automatic car. And she's worked in this space for about 18 years. She previously practiced at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital as an ENT consultant. But since March 2020, she has been the Deputy Director of Clinical Care, the whole Ashanti region, under the Ghana Health Service. Interestingly, she took up this position when the nation really needed dedicated and experienced hands during the COVID-19 pandemic. She obtained her MB-CHP and a Master of Public Health from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and is a fellow of the West African College of Surgeons and a fellow also of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. She also happens to have been among the first batch. Hello, somebody say first batch. First batch of residents to write the membership exams for the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons in 2007. 2007, I was in second year medical school at the Randolph. I think we can do better than that.
Thank you very much, Nana. Madam Chairperson, Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I feel very honored to be called upon to moderate our second public lecture, even as we celebrate our 20th anniversary. I must say that not only did I witness the inception of Ghana College, but I participated in it as a candidate. So in 2003, I had obtained a diploma in otorhinolaryngology from the West Africa College of Surgeons. And I had passed the primaries to pursue the fellowship of West Africa College. And then Ghana College was, but he managed to convince me with some statements. First of all, he said, you don't have to travel outside Ghana. Said, okay, then they should exempt me at least from the entrance exam. And he said, oh, this one also has an exit exam called membership, because the West Africa at the time was all or none. So I had seen my seniors taking exam after exam and not exiting the college. And then finally, what got me, he said, look, this is our own, so let's make it work. And he managed to convince me. So on the 4th of March, 2004, I was among 13 doctors who were traveling from Kumasi to come to Kolebu to write the entrance exam. And guess what? We were involved in an accident near Nkoko. Our bus tried to avoid a head-on collision and skidded off the road, landed on its side. But we were determined. So our chief executive at the time, Dr. Insiansari, brought another bus. And with the exception of 2 who had sustained fractures, the rest of us sat in the bus and came to Kolebu to write the entrance exam. And it was not until the following day we started experiencing body aches all over. Otherwise, we had forgotten we were involved in an accident. And after that entrance exam, some people went their various ways, but some of us stayed. And in 2007, like Nana said, I was one of 8 people to take the maiden membership exam of the Ghana College of Physicians. Up to its mandate, the primary mandate, I must say, of training specialists in medicine and surgery and related disciplines. I have seen the college evolve and improve, and it is my hope that the college will continue to improve and stay relevant to new demands. And I believe it's part of that reason we are gathered here this afternoon. And everybody has been alluding to the interesting theme, the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons 2023, Inception, Sankofa, and AI. And I also can't wait to listen to a very renowned professor of ours dissect this topic. And I must say that I'm not worthy to unlace his sandals. So to introduce him, we have another distinguished professor of medicine and therapeutics and our former rector. So please help me welcome Professor David Ofurieje to introduce our speaker for this afternoon.
Pleasure of saying all kinds of things about me. Ladies and gentlemen, I think everybody in this room knows each other by now. And my job here is not to introduce myself, but to introduce the speaker, who has a very interesting topic. And everybody keeps saying Inception, Sankofa, and AI, inferring that AI is artificial intelligence. The man is a poet. What I don't know is whether the word is I or actually AI, but we will see. Our speaker this afternoon is a retired professor in surgery, a creative writer and a philanthropist who was once known as Lade Wosonu, Professor Lade Wosonu. Please note that his Lade has an accent aigu on the E. So if you don't pronounce this properly, you get into trouble. He has recently, actually in September last year, was made the stool father of his clan. So he is now addressed as Jupiter Professor Lade Wosonu. I hope I got the pronunciation correct. I practiced all night. He is an old boy of Presec, Dodumase branch. He also went to St. Augustine's College in Cape Coast, where he is always remembered by the sharp edges of the creases in his khaki shorts. And then he also went to the Glasgow University. And at Glasgow University, he made several achievements, and he collected all the prizes in medicine between the second year and the final year, and the gold medal for that year also. He was the first African, actually, to be awarded that gold medal. And several years later, when I was in Glasgow, at the hospital I was at, I was repeatedly asked, "Do you know Lade?" I said, "Lade Wosonu." And I said, "Oh, I know him." But interestingly, most of the people asking me were female. So I got, he also later on got the Commonwealth Award for Promising Young Professional. The Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences in 2016 elected him a fellow of the Ghana's Maiden Learned Society. So he is a fellow of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. He actually became the treasurer in 2021, but stepped down because of ill health. He is also a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh and also of England, and a foundation fellow of our great college, the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. He also is a member of several academic societies and things. I won't go into the list is very long. In the mid-1960s, he was actually working at Kolebu Teaching Hospital with the famous surgeons like Professor Eastmont, Professor Bedu, Professor Korte, and Professor surgery to fill that gap in the department. Organized at the Hammersmith Hospital. His assigned research project was actually a novelty. It was to create a skin-lined hemithorax. Hemithorax is half the lung cage. To develop this in experimental animals. His findings eventually contributed to the debate on lung transplantation versus artificial lungs. And now we can do lung transplantations based on some of the results of his findings. From 1976 to 2014, he left the shores of Ghana and worked in Zambia as the head of the Department of Surgery at Lusaka, and then he went to Saudi Arabia and worked at the King Faisal Hospital in Draman. There, he was appointed the Dean of Quality Management, and the WHO recognized his expertise in that area and actually appointed him an external consultant to assist the Republic of Sierra Leone on two separate occasions. First, to develop the strategic plans for their new National College of Postgraduate Colleges of Health Specialists. And second appointment was to develop a 10-year plan for the council. He's also provided consultancy services to University of Health and Allied Sciences at Ho, and I must add that has been very instrumental in the development of quality management in the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. By chance, he's been at two wars, the Rhodesian War in Southern Africa and Desert Storm too. Under those circumstances, he developed and implemented triaging and inpatient care for mass casualties, something that is very useful in times of war. He has been recognized for his overall contribution to the health sciences. He's got over 90 plus publications in peer-reviewed scientific journals that reflect his input in this area. He's also known as a creative writer in and beyond Ghana. His literary works include 3 collections of poems, 2 drama, and 4 nonfiction prose. It is a matter of record, and for him, a privilege, that his writing is not unknown to the West African Examination Council. His 3 examinable poems are Desert Rivers, The Master Brewer, which is my favorite, and Raider of the Treasure Trove. These are now examinable literature by the West African Examination Council. Above this, recently, 7 of his poems have been translated into 15 Ghanaian languages by the Bureau of Ghana Languages. Now, I have to be very careful here because I don't know whether this lecture will be in prose, will be a poem, or something else. For 7 years, he wrote on health and wellness issues as a columnist in Ghana's national newspapers, one of them. And being an impactful communicator, he uses simple, effective language and storytelling in his writings. His awards in this area include the Ghana Book Award in 1981, the Valco Literary Award, the National Recognition for Achievement in Poetry and Nonfiction Prose, and he was also elected the International Inspirational Poet in 2016. Now, I have to stop somewhere along the line because otherwise I'll end up giving a lecture on this man. But he's also chaired a couple of foundations. He has his own foundation, actually, the Wosonu Foundation. And then he also served on several boards. Concerning medical associations, he is or was a member of the British Medical Association, the Zambian Medical Association, and also the Ghana Medical Association, where at one time he was the secretary for the Greater Accra region and actually became the Secretary General of the national body at one time. And finally, he was among those who advocated establishing the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. I think that's a whole story by itself. And he has since been awarded for his contribution to the establishment of the college. I think that was about 10 years ago when we did our 10th anniversary. Okay. On my part, I have known Professor Wosonu since 1974, when I was a medical student on his ward. And I think we never lost touch after that. We still talk, and I still get early morning devotion messages from him. I don't know whether he's noticed something bad in me he has to correct. But yeah. So we have known each other for a very long time, and it is my pleasure, Madam Moderator, to present to you Jupiter Professor Lade Wosonu. Jupiter, your audience.
The title of this talk is, as you can see, I begin with a disclaimer that all pictures are sourced from the internet, and other sources are hereby duly acknowledged. The presentation is not for commercial purposes. And I hope that the introduction will be here. Yes, it is here now. Chairperson, Dr. Joyce Ayi, the college chair and the administrators, the high table, Nime, Kaname, Mamao, Tobio, and all here present. Now please allow me in humility and recognize your due titles, honor, and positions, and add that, of course, all protocol already presented are fully observed. Now, the content of this presentation is as follows. The timeline will be shown to you. A minute's silence will be requested. The chairperson may I need to ask her, please, to help us in that area. Then comes a list of acknowledgements, and then the abbreviations used will be presented shortly, briefly. Then after that, I'll go on to milestone the first milestone, actually, and then number 1 is the inception of the college. The day is specified. This is followed by an intermission. Now, after that, we have milestone 2, which is Sankofa. The third one is review the current strategic plan of the college. Then we have a novel environment of AI and beyond, takeaway message, and then we have something in gold, the final liberation. Thank you. Now then, disclaimer has come already, so let's move on. I'm going around in circles. So I'm sorry about that. This also come already. Okay, just a second. Here's the timeline. The content is structured as a timeline. You have 4 milestones and 2 players. 4 milestones and 2 players. The milestone number 1 is inception. Number 2 is the Sankofa. Number 3 is review of the current plan of the college. And then you go to the novel environment of AI and beyond. The dates are specified there. 1992 to 1999. Sankofa is December 2013, but strangely enough, we had to go a little Sankofa in this year also. You'll see in a moment that had to go back to the planning committee and what they had to suggest for us to do. The review of the current strategic plan, the word is the review of it. Because at the review time, you need to count and see and show what has been done, what remains to be done, and to plan accordingly. Beyond that, we go into the big zone of AI and beyond. Now then, the players are 2 teams. The first team is a blend of two entities. The word blend may seem to be something new in AI. It's been there for a long, long time, as you can see in a moment. This is the first entity. Our provider, the government of the Republic of Ghana. That is the first entity which formed a part of this first team. The second one is the college and its administration. These institutions therefore combined to form the first side of things. Now then, here is the other player. This time, it's a blend of individuals forming teams. The first was a blend of institutions, now a blend of individuals forming teams. The membership of this team was flexible depending on the environment, whether it's in Ghana or Saudi Arabia. These are the two nations or countries involved in where the teams came from. And here they are. In Ghana, the provider was a very important member of this team. In fact, she got things going. She had very influential administrators. The medics consisted of anesthetists, medicals, and surgeons. They are in that blend in the Ghana side. But look at the Saudi side. We have engineers, mathematicians. The organizer happened to be a surgeon, but he also had anesthetists, gynecologists, novelists, pediatricians, radiologists, and so on. What did they do? The Ghana group made recommendations to the Minister of Health at that time, but the Saudi group, they gave the information all the way to the Ghana Medical Association in Kumasi, 1997. 1997. Very well. Now, Sankofa is always a link between what has been and what is. The evidence will be shown shortly in acknowledgements. Then awards were given in the 10th anniversary of 2013. That also will be referred to. And then I'll refer to an occasional lecture, 2014. That being so, I would like Madam Chairperson, please to take over. If you can observe a moment's silence for those who have taken a left flight. Madam, please.
This institution was not only established, but kept going till now. May the souls of those without whose help this college had come thus far rest in peace and rise in glory. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We'll no longer mention the departed. Now, as I stated, the acknowledgements are quite a number. I thank the merciful God, the Almighty, for enabling me to be here. As was mentioned earlier, I've had one or two health challenges. It hasn't been easy, but God has been so kind. I place on record, therefore, my thanks to those who got it going. Paul Nyame, he served as the consultant for the group and the chairperson of those who selected the committee, the planning committee. Justina Kodai answer is there. The rector and Professor Jenfi. You can see that against his name, 1966 to 2023, and God willing, only God knows, and ongoing. Now, Dr. and Mrs. Eunice Brookman Emerson, the then Honorary Minister of Health, he invited Dr. Jenfi and this speaker to serve as external advisors on the task force on postgraduate medical college for Ghana. Albert Amwa, he had initiative and untiring follow-up effort, David Oforeje, the past director of the college, then the Ashanti division of the GMA for the invitation to speak at the GMA annual general meeting, October 1997. Then, Sir Professor Dr. H. Brobe, at that time he was the president of the GMA. This is the first list of acknowledgements. The second list. In the eastern province of Saudi Arabia, a blend of 11 other Ghanaians, medics and non-medics alike, we gather for brainstorming sessions. These are the fields and names. The mathematician, Yao Fiagbaji, engineers, Kweku Timeng and Sam Somwa. Two young medics, Osbert Ajay, a radiologist, and Isaac Odame, pediatrician. And five no longer so young others. So there you are, we have a blend of the young and not so young. Professor Jeffy's name comes again. George Ankrabedu, internist and also clinical hematologist. Emmanuel Labi, internist and clinical pharmacologist. And of course, we also have orthopedics, Agamasu, actually a gynecologist and a novelist. Henry Holbrook Smith, orthopedic surgeon and chief executive, Kodibu. Those are the group who formed that blend. Now, in the institution, the IEA, which published the occasional paper, I make mention of the executive director, Dr. George Apenten. Professor Jerome Jangba, he was the deputy executive director. He was a friend in PRESEC. Ruby, you are here to represent your husband. Ruby, could we see you, please? Let's clap for her. Her husband he's not with us at the moment, but Ruby is here to say, thank you very much, Ruby, for coming. Now here's the third one, the last one. The shields and supporters of this speaker, Nime Kaname, Dogbekwe Mamao. I have here, I can name you all by name. I've actually captured it on my computer, but if you don't mind, I will not read your names, but I acknowledge all of you. You can trust me. I'm so grateful for you to have come here. Clap for them for me, please. Your Excellencies, the rectors, directors, clergy, fellows of the Ghana Academy, you are all here to support. The media, GAO, Oswald J is here, and members of the advisory committee are also here. Publishers, they could say, and so on, are also here. Students, you are very welcome. The ones from Dabala were first to arrive, even though they were outside Accra. Congratulations, all of you. You are going to be engaged in what is happening. You have no escape, I can assure you. The family and staff, those who are departed, Reverend Dacon, my children and in-laws, the grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, Mavis, my assistant secretary, and the virtual supporters, Ghana and abroad. I acknowledge all of you, and I say thank you very much indeed. Now, here is a true story. One day, the speaker was driving from a rector's office back to a teaching hospital. About a mile from this destination, his car stalled. It was high noon. He phoned Professor Jemfi. The following was the conversation. Now, students, I want you to help me here. I'll read what is in Akan, and you'll read the English version. Conform me, read the English version. I can't hear you. Oh, hey. Near our supermarket, oh, and I'm in the Meba. 10 minutes later, here was the continuation. Saka, we pay him send put on us. Read that. Read it, please. Saka, we put on us. Professor Jemfi, I need your help, please. Where were we? What's our coordinates, please? Where were we when I sent you that SOS that high noon? Give him a microphone, please.
We were in Saudi then.
And a round of petrol in Saudi Arabia.
I will tell you that at that time, a bottle of water was so expensive, it cost more than a gallon of petrol. So he was driving and I forgot to buy petrol.
Thank you very much. All right. The abbreviation I'm going to use, I will not waste your time with them. Here they are: AI, AGM, the college, GMA, IEA, KSA, and so on. I will not waste your time about that. But here we are now, the first milestone, the inception of the college. And this is very important. We have in custody this booklet. The title is there. This booklet is something very important. If you can lay hands on it, try and get it. It's entitled Decentralization of Postgraduate Medical Education in Ghana, the IEA, occasional paper number 23. Edujemfi and the author happen to be the authors of that content of that. And then this was what the copyright said. The publication of this work testifies that the IEA regards it as a competent treatment worthy of public consideration. Now, that is what was said about that book. Now, the director, Dr. Penton, wrote this. This is the nature of things. Once a process is begun, it acquires a mind of its own until a logical conclusion is reached and can be taken no further. The process can be the breaking up of empires, such as the Roman or the British Empire or the Soviet Union. Or it can be an intangible, such as latching onto an idea and then discussing its many forms. Decentralization is an example. That of the medical school, postgraduate medical college, was in focus at that time. Now then, this occasional paper continues like this. This is what was mentioned by Dr. Penton. This speaker's contribution included, the courage is necessary, but whether it will be sufficient, only time will tell. The courage is necessary, whether it will be sufficient, only time will tell. That was 1997, this was said. It was recorded in 1999. And here was Professor Edujemfi. This process in Ghana is necessary and feasible. Please bear these two words in mind. Is it necessary? Is it doable? But both authors also exemplify the adage, you don't know a subject until you can express it in numbers. Would you believe it? When I asked information from the planning committee, over 50% of them asked for impact assessment. So it's important to have things expressed in numbers. This is what your committee is looking for. And this is what it said. I place on record the gratitude of the IEA to the Danish government through the embassy in Accra and Danida, whose generous assistance made this publication possible. I refer to this input because we're going to come to it again. We talk about Sika, money, Aga, Koba. Thank you. The Daily Graphic editorial appeared in that month of February 1997. It was 8 months before October 1997. And this is not new, it's the Daily Graphic. The editor was Mr. Elvis Aye. Forgive me, but this is what it says. Daily Graphic are focused on the editorial. The case for postgraduate medical college, that is the editorial. The editor was Elvis Aye. But just look what is happening there on that page. What page is that, please? Page 5, Thursday, February 26, 1997. How to remove inflation. I didn't put it there. This is what history is telling us. Remember that. You're extremely quiet. I'm surprised. But there it is. This is history. It's inception. We are talking about things at the beginning. Now, we are continuing then with this sort of thing. Now, events which prepared the input for this section from the AI lecture are not summarized. Remember, the lecture was 1997, but, sorry, that was the lecture, but this publication came there. The reference is at the bottom there. You can see there, 22 to 53 pages. It's quite extensive. If you want to get hold of it, I recommend strongly that you do. You'll find it quite interesting. The history of postgraduate education in Ghana happened in October 31, was a defining date. The day after a long incubation period, the college was born in public. It looks like a young eaglet at that time. The place was the Garden City, Kumasi. The occasion with AGM of the GMA. That was when it was born in public. Take note of that. Continuing, the way forward submitted the 3 assigned speakers to take care of business at that time. This is very important. We had to deal with a sub-theme. These were the assigned speakers. Number 1 is challenges for the future. The assigned speaker was Dr. A. Asamoah Ban. Is he here? Clap for him, please. Thank you very much indeed. Now, number 2, the official view of the GMA, Dr. Wiridu. Is he here? We'll clap for him anyway. Maybe it's online. Then, the structural requirements we were assigned to Professor Gordon Smith, but he sent his apologies. And at very short notice, this speaker was asked to take over that topic, including his own issues involved. That is how that was addressed in Kumasi that far back. Thank you. Now, we go on there. A revisit of 6 issues raised in 1997 because they may be relevant for today. Here they are. The range of specializations. The chairperson made a mention about that. The funding by subvention. You made mention of SICASEM. Change management. Junior hospital doctors. I want to know the number of residents who are, the junior residents who are here. Show your hands, please. Junior residents, are you here? Any of them here? Please, let me see your hand. Nobody's here. All right, no problem. What about the mature residents, the senior ones? Any of them here? Aha, 1, huh? Okay. When I'm talking that section, you have to respond to what I'm going to say. And then the story about tutors. Fine. The range of specialization shall expand. That was predicted. One cannot arrest the process of division. It is part of growth and development. The college shall be plagued by the birth pangs of subgroups, anesthetists, dentists, dermatologists, and so on. They shall demand not just separate sections, but different colleges. When this happens, as anyone can predict it shall, let it be handled with grace and dignity. The page is there, page number 30. That is when this was cited. Now then, it says here, on a lighter note, this thing called specialization, the range shall expand, but please, it's not the free-for-all, though. It's not the free-for-all. We cannot, the Ghana Health Service is not offering health transplantation on demand, although some of us can do with health transplantation immediately. I have a motorway right now. So, for the time being, the college can safely delay graduating specialists in health transplantation. Am I right? Clap for the college for discernment. All right. Now, another issue is funding. Funding. The college must access funds which must be adequate, regular, and inflation-proof. That was 1997. 1997. It was recorded after all that blending from Saudi Arabia here and so on. The funds must be adequate, it must be regular, and inflation-proof. Beware the subvention as your main source of funds. The college tends to rely on subvention. It's a vintage wine dispensed by a miser. it can run dry when you thirst most for it. And this is the man to avoid. This young fellow, Napoleon, he closed a whole college in Venice in 1801. Why? His age was just a middle grade registrar, but he did it because he had the authority to do so. Subvention is, don't rely on subvention. Change management, there are 2 slides on this one here. To many colleges in Africa, including Ghana, a role model is the College of Surgeons in England. But history tells us that whenever that college tried to introduce change, it met resistance. All right. 2 examples are given. 1, Board of Examiners to audit of clinical work. The year was 1847. The intended change was to add examiners from provinces, Liverpool, Newcastle, Manchester, and so on. The London-based examiners resisted. Now, why would they do that? Read for yourselves. Sikasem. The Court of Examiners was lucrative at the appointment at that time, so they didn't want anybody else to join them. That was in Britain at that time. All right. Now, the other issue is the change management. Here we are. The second example is that one, quality management. The college was encouraging audit in clinical management, but they didn't want to do that, even though it was so many years after this young woman, Florence Nightingale, introduced it, but it still was not being done. So it can be difficult to manage change. Now, the other one is junior hospital doctors. And it's a shame they are not here, but maybe they are there online. On the international scene, junior hospital doctors have changed. They now refuse to work long hours for low pay. They reject poor housing conditions. They demand appropriate compensation for the overtime, and they refuse to fight battles which aren't rightly theirs. That was observed that far ago. Fine. Now then, they have together lobbies, reps in official places, signed places for power in EU and UK and so on. And then, this is the third part about them. Therefore, from the planning stage, let us remember that. From the planning stage, we said that let's involve them, give them seats at your high tables, sup with them, assign them responsibility, and treat them with dignity. They reciprocate in the manner shown there. That was that far back at the planning stage of the college. These ideas were brought for you to bear in mind. Now, the senior guy, could you come forward, please? I need you. The senior resident. Is she around? Okay. We are aware that, you know that you have acquired responsibility. Sometimes they're called extra luggage. You have a spouse, you have kids, you have loans. You have a preference for working conditions. You are concerned about your housing. You need adequate take-home pay, and you don't want too many night calls. You'll be justified if you demand that you finish your training quickly. We are aware of that far back. And we also know that you require refresher courses. We demand that, okay, you have a say in your, at that time, it was called syllabus. Now it's called curriculum. All right. So we are on your side. There you are, the second. So when they, regional hospitals, the understandable, they don't want to go there. Once upon a time, concerning London, we read, students were suspicious about receiving part of the education outside the teaching hospital and away from the epicenter of their social and domestic life. This is what you know about them. So we are on your side. Now what about tutors? They are unavailable when needed most by the residents. That was the complaint observed at that time. The audience participation, please. This time I want the senior ones. It says here, Madam Chairperson, students complained about A, canceled teaching sections, 2, reduction in the skill of supervisors, 3, Says here, number 3, reduction in skills. Okay, of which center this statement true? These 2 points were made about them. Is it King's College in London? It's written alphabetically, by the way. Kodibu Teaching Hospital in Accra, Rich Hospital in Accra, or Western Infirmary in Glasgow? Your choice. Single best, please. Ufureje. So these are the 4 hospitals. They still be complaining that they are never ranked when you want them, and their skills are not so good. What do you suggest? King's College. All right. Anybody any other suggestions? Say that again. All the above. Okay. All right. The unavailable tutors, as you mentioned the answer, the correct answer is King's College, surprisingly so. Therefore, this idea, let it be understood, the tutors when most needed are not there, please, is not peculiar to Ghana. It can be occur anywhere. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Now, the intermission. Intermission. Madam Chairperson, this courtesy of the Ghana Education Service, Mrs. Achampong Prisek, John Saki of UCC, and that book called Cockcrow. From then, this poem was written, there's a reverse, and it's only 14 lines, and not more than 14 lines. Any of the students read Desert Rivers before? Any of you? Not even the junior high? No, all right. Let's share Desert Rivers, please. Desert Rivers. Deserts too have their rivers, entombed from birth in earth, waters mightier than waters, lie hid from glare of sun, and winds that dry, roofed not by sky, but rocks that do not always hold. These run their unwitnessed course to their unwitnessed end. Without a sound, they gush into bouts of seas far, far away from the unaided human eye. If you cannot see my tears, does not mean I do not cry. Now that is Desert Rivers. I'm done. I know that many people are here from many places. My fellow people on boards are here. The one from Aluax is here. I know you are there. Many others are here, but we'll record you shortly. Now we go to the second part, Sankofa. Now this is Sankofa. Now, Sankofa. Madam Chairperson, the sources to inform this milestone are these: the college's 10th anniversary and some awards given 11 December 2013, an occasional lecture called Medical Education Ghana, the Beginning, the Present, and the Future, and the feedback from the chair and members of the planning committee, which I had to go and Sankofa because I had planned the lecture before they gave me this input, so I had to go back and readdress it. Over here, the topics are these 5. A roll call of award at that time, a protocol of unfading stars of the college, and 2 others. Our culture, our mother tongue. Research topics are always at your feet, and from the planning committee, they want information about brain drain. All right, a note about this. Ghanaian Times Award 2013, December 14 is there, and our honors were given at that time. The Jamfi and the speaker, among others, Professor Freje mentioned that earlier, we were given an award for what is mentioned there. The youth were advised, the organizers were commended for recognizing the good work of others. Let's move on, it says here. The youth were advised to render service without counting the cost, since somebody somewhere will be watching and at the right time will reward you for your sacrifice. The category of awards were these: distinguished service, outstanding achievement, meritorious service, and others. And then this is the person who recorded it, Lawrence Marquis, The date is specified there. Okay. The names about these are in course today. The Distinguished Award, Paul Nyame, George, Samuel Fosama, David Fureje. Outstanding Achievement, the names are there. Ken Dazi, Sego, Ankra Bedu, Bruce Tego, Ahmad Achambon, Kwe Achampon, Ediabwa, and so on. Meritorious Award, Gladys, Ebenezer, Anthony, Depumeyer, and then Albert Akpalu. And then, of course, the others are there. So all this on record for anyone who wants to visit them, it is there. We are mentioning them now in Sankofa. Now, the occasional lecture was this one. 2014, that was the topic, the present and the future. From there, we gathered this information. It's actually 4.03 points. The protocol of unfading stars of the college, the founding dean of the medical school, an award given for the person of excellence who is a Ghanaian, the attribute of some of the first cohort of graduates. And here we go. The protocol of the 5 unfading stars of the college: Jacob Plangerul, Nkrumah Mills, Sam Deborah, Audrey Forson. 5 unfading stars: Ofusuama, Paul Nyame, the director of the Ghana Health Service, the Director General of the Defense and Burma Camp, and also Dr. Tego. Now then, from the Ghana Medical Association, the founding administrator, an instructor, and more, the roll call, only 2 names are given, such as Professor Eastman, the founding dean of the pod. Clap for him, please. And then, we note here, no nation can do it alone. Bear that in mind. An example of recognition of a Ghanaian, and here it is. The name is Professor Isabella Kwache. 2019, she was a recipient of that award there by the American Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. Clap for her. And during the speech, it was noted that it was an honor for a female scientist who is an icon in research in tropical medicine. Your good work also be found out. Now, what about this one? The attributes of the first cohort of graduates, I'll pick only one, that is bravery. The year was 1970. The focus was cholera at that time. The outbreak was at a place which is very difficult to pronounce. The first doctor to be there are these 3. Kofi Do, you are here. What are you, Kofi? Thank you. JT name, JT, are you here? Doctor name. Jonga. Onyeba. Okay. And the last one, Yaudu Jempi. One of the most important topics we are addressing today. The youth are here in large numbers. We're talking about our culture, our mother tongue. The source happened to be the JB Memorial there. We had exclusion criteria when talking about JB Dankwa. They are law, partisan politics, completely from our discussion. Master in creative writing using his mother tongue, Twi. I wish I could write in Ebe, but I can't. I'm disgraced. I'm so sorry about that. The relevance, therefore, of this concept, of this thing that he did in Ghana today, let's visit that in the next 2 minutes. Number 1, the benefits of being bilingual. I want the students to listen carefully, and the teachers among us also remember this. And when you go home, I hope it will make you change something they're doing. This is research-based evidence. The source is at the bottom there. You can research it or check it out yourself if you want to. The focus is only on this one, the benefits of cognitive and social linguist skills. Only that's the focus. And here they are. The infants who, it says here, are raised in bilingual setting are more flexible psychologically than those raised in monolingual environments. They retain their perceptual flexibility into adulthood. They find learning a third language easier. They develop enhanced critical rate-limiting skills such as attention, inhibition, and switching. All that you gain by speaking more language than a foreign one when you're a child. It goes on to say, now those who are leading the charge here, the Ghana Culture Forum, they're promoting Ghanaian identity through our cultural diversity, and this is what they're asking for. The other organizations are, I hope, the Ministry of Health, Education Service, the Bureau of Ghanaian Languages, Writers Association, prominent citizens are doing all that. And then there are some individuals here. For example, Boateng of the BGL, Chris Kra, and Professor Kofi Anyidoho, Nana John Apenteng. I'll indicate in a minute how roles they have played in this thing. These are the ones leading the charge here. Anyidoho is advocating that we use the language as a medium for instruction in creative in university, including exit exams. He had experience about that. The Ghanaian languages in East and West Coast, the Voices Without Borders. In Togo, they give awards to those who write the poems in the Ewe language. This is what John Apenteng is saying. The Bureau has done something novel. They translate poems into Ghanaian languages by other writers. Some 50 years ago, writing Ghanaian language was frequent. Many educated Ghanaians could do that. But these days, I wonder how many of us, I myself, am guilty of that. Therefore, two consequences of speaking foreign tongues instead of a mother tongue. This is one of them. If bilingual adults develop Alzheimer's disease, they show the symptoms about 5 years later than the opposite. This is because their brains compensate for the disease through the skills they've been using all along. Attention, inhibition, switching. You've been doing that all along. But look at this other one. Monolinguals can end up as being psychological cretins, although their genes were from the mothers or the parents. They're meant to be giants in both fields. Take note. Please take note. Thank you very much. So, this is what UNESCO is suggesting as the way forward. You have threats to what is happening. You have access to be addressed. You have diversity. You have asset. This is what UNESCO is saying. And then it's saying that, it said, due to globalization, they are under threat, the language, to disappear altogether. The access, so many of them lack access to the language. Diversity, it says, when the language fades, so does the world's rich cultural diversity to just vanish. When it happens to you, it's an asset, therefore it must be valued. The reference is at the bottom there for you to bear in mind. If you want it, it's there. Now then, research topics. Research topics. I know that you often cry that we do something to rest about. We have two teams involved here. One, a surgical team. And two, a new medicine, called Sophatool. As you can see, there's handwriting at the bottom there, and this came from a statistician, 1971. He was a statistician in the team of that side. Here's team B. Here they are. A bride-to-be and her family. A bride-to-be and her family. And then this traditional medicine, what links them? A raging fire. Now, what happens to these players? These players, how did they interact? Let's find out. First, there was an informed consent was obtained. Doctor, thank you for looking after my wife, but we want to take her home for traditional medicine. Sir, no objection, but she's still on a fluid, sir. Very well, I'll bring the medicine to you then. Doctor, carry on. Sir, we have just received a new Western medicine, Sofatul. May we treat one leg with the medicine and the other with Sofatul? Doctor, oh, correct, carry on. So it happened that we were gifted a topic, a clinical trial, plus a bonus. The patient became her own control. By a toss of a coin, the right leg was sent to the traditional medicine. And now this is what happened. The outcome conclusions. Now then, the right leg healed faster without any scars. This is the moral of the story. Research topics are available at your feet, if only you have eyes to see them. Blend your clinical work, blend operations, blend audit, blend research. In blending systems, we are all winners. Thank you very much indeed. Now, brain drain was an adequate sankofa. I asked the planning committee, what do you want me to talk about? I assume that you have topics already, or is there anything particular you want to hear from me? And they gave me a response, can be summarized. I want your attention for this table. It goes like this. On the right-hand column, on the left side, these are what they wanted to do. Opportunities outside Ghana, research and innovation. That is the brain drain is mentioned. The way forward and impact assessment. 14 of the 27, Mr. Rector, asked for impact assessment. This is what it was. The way some have been dealt with already, now I focus on brain drain. Watch. Enter a mathematician. Brain drain was the input from a mathematician called Professor Yalvi Fiagbaji, a Ghanaian in Saudi at that time, 1997. Here was his exercise. Develop a model for the status of residency training in Ghana, underlined. The purpose, empower the planners to predict the rate of to control the model. This so he was told, the mathematician. He said, with disdain in his voice, what makes you think that residents in Ghana behave differently from those elsewhere? They're all the same. They're all human. They all behave the same. That's what he said. Material. This is the formula he used. The number of faculty, the salary of them, and then time 1 is added there. Huh? You have not seen anything yet. Then, and that is my question 2. Now, this is strictly for only the mathematicians among you. It says here that is question 1, and that is question 2. But please, forget about them if you're not a mathematician. But we have to involve them at that time to get the precision that we require. Thank you. Now then. So, he went back to logic. This is what he said. This is very important. If the number of persons remain in the system at any time can be predicted by the way the residents see happening around them, to them, and to their colleagues, and especially, above all, to their faculty, because everyone needs a model. Therefore, if the salary at role model of year 2 is no better than that of year 1, the year before, on the contrary, each year it gets less and less by 33% in terms of purchasing power. Inflation, anyone can predict the most likely trend shall be lower than that one. This is mathematics talking. And then he said, here's the conclusion. He says here, the power to assign a number, i.e. the power to determine the magnitude of the decline, is the only thing added by solving the equation. After the trend, it is logical. It is common sense. QD, thank you. I'll take a break. Water, please. Now, we're almost there now. We are coming to now the review of the college's plan. The focus is the college strategic plan, the time specified there. That's the source here. It said that we are only three things were cited to show that, yes, you're interested in things to come. You said that in your SWOT analysis, you address AI. You shall use AI to enhance resident training experience, and it's being developed globally. Therefore, you also want to participate in it. So far, so good. Now then, the other evidence came from interaction with Professor Park Minoku and Sam Debra. And it was said a lot of brain energy has been invested in these documents. Given the certain advent of AI, everything has changed, and changed for enhanced efficiency. All right. Therefore, with regulation as the foundation is a suggestion here. Moving on from this milestone 3, the speaker respectfully suggests that the college can duly approve, install, and regulate AI, the foundation of the current strategic plan when it comes to its midterm review. Now, this was the suggestion made to Sierra Leone many years ago and repeated sometime after that. And this is what it looks like. On the right-hand side, you have the bottom. The foundation is AI and emerging technologies. That was suggested to them at that time, and everything else should be built upon that. Support for the training, research, training facilities, teaching hospitals, training structure, research, the administration, everything is included there. Now look at this. The others invited as external examiners were these two, Paul Nyame and Adujemfi. So we plead with you to consider that. And now we move on to the final milestone, number 4, AI and emerging technologies. A novel environment and AI has been an emerging thing. We are great where you are already. What is the position of a provider, the government? Here's the good news. The provider is even prepared and pre-armed. Is that a promising alignment of the spheres? Maybe. The sources are the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, public lecture, June of this year. And this is the thing that happened. The details are there on our website. The focus is here on this particular subtitle, Ethics and Regulation of AI in Education. That's the full title. The speaker, Professor Adekoya, Department Sunyani. So the source is well cited. Want information, you can get it in. What did he say? At the end of everything, he came to conclusions in what is called what is on the ground. Here's the first one. Ghana has been part of the ethical policy framework for AI in the global south. He said that pilot projects conducted in 2019 by UN, Global Pulse, and German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, and something else, dedicated to support the development of local policy frameworks in AI. All right. It continues to say that, the second one here. The private sector-led initiatives that focus on the development of AI skills at the local level are encouraged by the government. The context is given there. And here's the detail. Ghana is the home of the Google first AI lab in Africa. Activities in can be grouped, including the training, the policy initiative. You are developing a national AI strategy up to 2033. Startup are focusing on something else. Therefore, it's all happening. And he had a call for action. Here come the players again. The provider is leading the way. Now, the college has shown that it shall not allow history to repeat itself. The gray shall neither fray, and most certainly not slay the green. All stakeholders shall blend into functional units to embrace AI and its effective regulation. When you do that, these then are the takeaway messages. I'm almost done. From inception, Sankofa Review, we affirm the following. It is the nature of things. Once a process is begun, it has a mind of its own. Medical schools in Ghana, which produce the enrollment for the college, are world class. And the Culture Forum is asking that promote our identity through the cultural diversity multilingualism has evidence-based benefits. Brain drain is the logical impact of economic headwinds. It is universal. And then this is the last one here. It says, repeating yesterday's mistake is feasible, but it's not necessary. Make AI and risk regulation the foundation of the review of your plan for the next 5 years. You're ready to go. The provider is even more ready for you. The approach is necessary, feasible, and efficient. Here's my ending. As I did 26 years ago, and so again today, the province has been mine to deliver precepts. The power is now there to execute. Thank you very much. Madam, wait, I have not finished. No, how much time I have back? No, this is what happened. I've done this, I gave you the intermission, I've done that, and I have to show this now. Now, fasten your seatbelts, let's go for a ride. The disclaimer is the same. The sources are from the internet, everything is acknowledged. The final liberation. I shoot the rapids of life. This is what rapids look like. And glide off the cliffs at dawn and serve the thermals at dusk. If you would ride roller coaster, stick around. This is what it looks like, roller coaster. If not, please bail out now. I alight further on landing strip. No longer hostage to the sweet tremors of procreation, I let go lightly what the others prize. I savor mint on solo flight without feeling cast away. I cherish solace in solitude without craving bon voyage. Betting my soul on this pearl, every gain is loss, and every loss gain. I dance to inner tunes of glory, barefoot on the embers of fortune. No longer scared of terminal darkness, I see the Father of final light. To be in love with everyone, but expect not from any man. God sufficient by my sunset. God sufficient by my sunset. Now that, the final liberation. I'm done. Thank you very much.
I think we can do better than that. A sounding round of applause for our speaker. Yes, thank you very much. And no wonder he's an Odadie. We have Odadies in the house. And if you don't know, I'm a lady Odadie. So I was in Pre-Sec Sixth Form Science College, 1990 to 92. Prof, thank you very much for this very wonderful lecture this afternoon. Please take your seats. It takes a surgeon and a poet to deliver and dissect the topic for us. And we heard so much. And for me, the take home, even as he talked about inception, I learned two things. I realized that it's very good to document very well because you could tell that the history was well documented. And then the acknowledgements. So no wonder that he's a successful surgeon, because there is a saying that no one who achieves success does so without acknowledging the help of others. And so we need to acknowledge people for the role they've played in the inception of Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. And then he took us to Sankofa. And again there, I realized that he made some acknowledgements as well, acknowledging all those who played a role in the college talked about decentralization of the medical college. And so now residents do not have to travel to Kolebu to write exams. There are several centers where residents can take exams. Okay. And staying relevant to the times. And so at the time, he mentioned that they were told that, look, don't go and consider hair transplants. But now we are talking about artificial intelligence. Yes, because we are evolving. The world around us is evolving and we need to revolve as well. And we enjoyed deserts to have their rivers. And another eye-opener was our culture, our mother tongue. Unfortunately, we live in Ghana where parents pride themselves. Mebani dion tichiyo. But we've learned that it's good for people or children to grow up and be able to speak more than one language. It's important. And for the residents who are in this room and those who are listening to us online, he reminded us that research topics are available at our feet. We have very low turnout of residents and, at the fellowship level, and it's because of the research. So today, Prof is telling us that the research topics, they are available at our feet. Even as we sit in the consulting rooms, the topics are there. So please be encouraged. And as for the brain drain, the mathematical equation, I think when Prof shares the slides, we'll take our time and study the mathematical equation. Okay, and then he finished with AI and the fact that it's already in the strategic plan of the college. So thank you once again, Prof. And at this point, the floor is open. We will take comments, questions. Prof is still seated there, and he will be ready to answer and interact with the audience. So I think that if we have microphones around, I don't know, or we want people to walk to the mic. So I see a mic here and another one there. So if you have a question, kindly walk to the microphone and ask your question, or if you have a comment to make. The floor is open. Any questions, any comments? Pom Boatin has the mic. Prof, please go ahead.
I don't have a question. I have a few remarks about this.
Yes.
I think we might have heard from Professor Dujanfi that this is a man who was a teacher and who was the same age as his students. And David, Professor Fureje mentioned our encounter with him in 1974. I just want to say a few things about what he did that had a lot of impact on my life. Surgically, he taught me a lot. But I still don't understand the poetry and things like that. I think straight. I mean, if you want to tell me something, tell me straight so that I understand. You don't go through this. But 1974, I observed this man do something. Those days, we had very bad cases of tuberculosis needing surgery. And it was very difficult. And the principle of those days was to remove the chest wall, more or less. You remove all the ribs on that side. If the tuberculosis is in the right lung, you remove all the ribs on that side, and then the chest wall, the muscle will collapse on the lung. And if the lung does not receive air, the germs, the tubercle bacilli will die. But of course, after the surgery, they don't look nice at all. But then a lot of people were cured. The second thing that I saw about him, that was the first time, when people had cancers of the esophagus, you have to remove the esophagus, but then replace it with something else, either with the stomach or with a segment of the colon. And basically, he was a general surgeon interested in thoracic surgery. So he chose the path. You can come from the abdomen to the neck to join the esophagus using 3 routes. One under the skin, subcutaneous route, and one behind the breastbone, and the third one is intrathoracic. And he chose the subcutaneous route. But then you can imagine that after eating, you have to massage the food down. But that was a novelty at the time, and these are the things that stuck with me. The third thing that was not mentioned was when he had a Smith and Nephews scholarship to go to the UK to do thoracic surgery, he worked with Melrose, and they developed the heart-lung machine. Yeah. Those days, for Professor Ismail, we showed a slide here. He did the first open heart surgery in Ghana, but those days we did not have the heart-lung machine. Yeah. They did what we called surface cooling, where Ismail will anesthetize the patient, put the patient in the bath, cool them to about 32 degrees, and when the heart starts fibrillating, to put the patient on the table, open up, and quickly do whatever they want to do within 15 minutes. But now we have the luxury of a heart-lung machine, and we can work for hours and hours. But Rosalade Wasonu, STEAM in the UK, started developing the heart-lung machine in his hospital. So on this stage, as you're giving us this wonderful lecture, let me tell the audience what you have done, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. So if you are seated here, think about it, what people will say about you some years to come.
Okay.
Yes,
so
please
my name is Hazel, and I want to say congratulations to Prof for the wonderful thing. As a surgeon and also being a surgeon and then a poet. And did you, writing the poems, was it a form of to deal with the things you deal with being a surgeon? And the other question is, was poetry your first or second love, or was it something you found on your path as being a surgeon, in the sense that wasn't that a space where you could actually tell your story, Thank you.
Good.
Are you harvesting the questions, or can I answer one at a time?
Do we have any more questions? Okay, so then let's have a second.
My name is Jibril from the media. I have 2 questions to ask. Sorry. The first question is related to the use of artificial intelligence and inclusion of artificial intelligence in the medical profession. Is artificial intelligence a threat to the profession?
Okay, thank you. So, Prof, I think you can go ahead. The first question had to do with the relationship between you being a surgeon and a poet, which was your first love. And then the second question is asking about the use of AI in medical education and the ethical considerations.
You are here, His Excellency, Professor Wale Okandira. Please answer the first question. Give me a microphone, please. He is the Secretary General of the Pan-African Writers Association. Okay. He's an excellency, he's an ambassador here. He's a physician and also a poet, and a great writer, actually.
Okay.
And you'll be amazed what it's going to tell you. Right.
Well, thank you, Prof. I think this is a big job you're giving me, sir, to answer a question thrown at somebody of your status. But I will try, sir. As a mentee of Professor Lade Wasonu, I can say that sometimes your different from your vocation or your profession. We have a long list of medical doctors who are successful writers. There are so many of them. When you're looking at the Russian literature, you can talk of Pasternak, you can talk of the famous playwright, you can talk of Oliver Goldsmith in Britain, and then right here in Africa, we have also a long list of medical doctors who have made careers in writing or poetry. Some of us, our first love were in the humanities, particularly those of us who were exposed to reading and writing, or who are fortunate to have gone to schools with good teachers in the English language. But of course, sometimes the parental influence will come in. I'm a good example. My best subjects were in the humanities. All my distinctions were in English language and the rest. And when I told my old man that I would like to be a journalist, he almost fainted. Because to him, journalists are people who have to depend on the irregular salaries to make a living. And then he looked at my other subjects, and he said, oh, you have credit in chemistry, biology, physics. Oh, you are going to be a doctor. And as a very humble and obedient son, I said, yes, sir. And I went to medical school, completed my medical studies, started medical practice, but went back to my first love. After many years, abandoned medicine, and I'm here in Ghana as the Secretary General of the Pan-African Writers Association, writing as a sort of living. And I was also being infected by Professor Lade Wasonu to also do more of writing and medicine. So I believe that sometimes our first love can be different from our second love. And again, for the sake of the students, it's also possible to combine both. Yeah. So don't get scared. If you are in the science and you prefer to read Shakespeare under the table once in a while, continue to read your science subjects and read your Shakespeare, and you can combine the two. We have a living witness here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So to the students, don't get scared. And the parents, please, don't quench the first love of your children. Prof.
May I, could you come to the podium again, please? The one who asked the question about AI. Yes. Leave it to the professionals. Say that, please.
Leave it to the professionals.
Say it again.
Leave it to the professionals.
Sit down. Leave it to the professionals. My role is just to ring the alarm. Time is 3 here. Regard it when you come to review your plan, halfway term, make it the foundation. The government is ready for you. Please regulate it, bring in the professionals, mathematicians, statisticians, whatever, blend and make it beautiful and whole and world-class. Please, bring in the professionals. I'll tell you a story. One day we were in Glasgow at that time, and a teacher will ask a question. He said, I'm so sorry, but I don't recall the answer right now, but I'll look it up for you. Huh. Can you admit that to students? But they did at that time. I don't recall the answer right now, but I'll look it up for you. So Look it up. Near Jerry Oba. So ask the professionals. Is that clear? He forgot to add one thing. In the Greek times, the god Apollo, Apollo, and your own school, which combines literature with medicine. Tell us about you. You are concealing that secret. Now, Apollo was the god of both. In those days, they're not only worshippers but they also believed what we believe, that a poet can heal you with his words. A poet can heal you with his knife. Therefore, they combine the two. You have the same thing in Nigeria right now. But please, this business of this sharp division, this or that, is a thing of the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, I have you, excuse me, please. Those who are here, I have the names here: Sabella Kwache, Ofere J, Elizabeth Adefio Shandorf, Togbi Boatruth, Madame Asafache Nunu, Madame Matilda Arthur, Ruby Jangba, His Excellency, my schoolmates, Kwabena Fripon Boating, and so on. I'm very grateful to all of you. Bon Patayeko, Nyewafenyewadon, Akwane Mukata, Shukran. Right, Madam.
Thank you very much. So, some more acknowledgements from Prof. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My name is Nano Furiata.
Disaster.
Prof. When I was in school, I was terrible in science. And today you've reminded me of that. Because I've been, I've been very slow in understanding where you were going. But by the time Professor Frimpong Boateng was done, together, and it raises a question. Okay, so what I said was, I started by saying that I was a terrible student in science in school. And today you reminded me of that, because it took a while for me to appreciate where you were going with everything. But it sort of crystallized when Professor Frimpong Boateng spoke. And then therefore it raises the issue. One, it makes me realize how much thinking goes into Ghana. And therefore, why is it that we can't, for example, in the case of College of Physicians and Surgeons and all of that history from the likes of Professor Eastman, why is it that we can't make Ghanaians appreciate that we're deeper and better than we make ourselves to be? The collection of information you put out this evening leaves a lot to think about. And there's a lot to be proud of, a lot of people to be proud of. Your list of acknowledgements, obviously you couldn't even go through count in one way or the other. We don't even seem to appreciate the small steps people take to lead us to where we are today. So the question is the same. What is it that we're not doing? What is it that is making us not appreciate the work that you have done, the distinguished guests on the panel have done, a whole host of people that will bring Ghana together in a better mold than we are? This negative attitude towards ourselves. I don't know if my question is clear. If it's not, we can continue when I come home.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Prof, would you want to react, or you continue when he comes home?
Yes, we shall continue under the Mango Grotto. Yes, Mango Grotto, yes. Thank you very much for that contribution. Thank you.
I think somebody in front of him wants to answer the question.
My name is Nana Jan Apinti. I think the answer is very simple. We don't clap enough in this country. When someone does something good, we need a lot of exhortation. Oh, you can do better. Oh, you have to clap. When something goes wrong, or we think something has gone wrong, then we all
jump on that case. That is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So please clap hard enough for the words of wisdom you've heard today. Clap. Okay. I think I'll give a last opportunity to any student who wants. No student has spoken. Any student? You want to? Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. The presentation, very excellent. Another dear indeed. Mm-hmm. Shall we give it to him? Thank you. Prof, I want to bring it a bit down and then start the discuss at our level. Poetry, writing, medicine. At the top, it's quite easy to have a blend. But increasingly, it's becoming more segregated at our level. They are running wider apart. It is difficult for a student who is reading science to read French. It is difficult for a student who is reading visual art to read something in the humanities. At best, he is given elective mathematics because he may proceed into engineering. We have had discussions, but where do we start and when? Where the senior high school students can say that I cannot pass mathematics, but I can be a good scientist if I'm to do something in biology. Or where the physics students can say that with my combination in mathematics without chemistry, I can go further to do something in engineering. Or if I want to do something in the arts and I'm a science student, I can still go ahead, borrow a few from the languages, and still go ahead. Even if I want to do writing in health or on health issues, I can still do it. Where do we start? And I think this is the time to crack the ground. It must come down to our level. And we must begin to allow the young man, young woman who is in blue and brown khaki and in sandals to decide that I can select a few subjects and make them together to become what I want to become in the future. Not to coagulate them into an oven of beacons and let them come out only to know one direction until when in the course of studying the university, an opportunity outside the shores of our country will allow them to do what they want to do and blend what they have started from their school.
Thank you very much.
So, Prof, I'm leaving the discussion that it should be possible that the student who is coming out of senior high school should have selected subjects and enter into a university here in Ghana, read his preferred programs, and still become what he wants to become. And even if it is a novelty, there should be a first. Even if it is wrong, for him to be corrected, and others will follow in his mistakes and make it right so that others will become what they want to become. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam, first of all, I want to refer to the previous two speakers before I come to him. We are members of the Ghana Association of Writers and also the, the board, the advisory board. We've been through some hard times these days, and I thank you very much for coming, and I appreciate your comments. Now then, at student level, you must understand something called priorities. Priorities. When I was in Form 3 in pre-sec, at the end of Form 3, going to Form 4, we had to choose between art, maths, or literature. And I wanted to do both. but the one or the other, so I had to drop literature, and I wept. No problem. I went to St. Augustine's, and during the prayer time, we were radioactive. They were kicked out of the chapel because we belonged to a different group, therefore we were not allowed in there. Instead, I went to the field, talked to the birds, and watched the flowers, and became in nature with nature. They were doing T.S. Eliot's Murder in the Cathedral. At that level, I wanted to play a part because the literature was close to me, and I was, believe it or not, the first priest. I went to Glasgow University, and it was still bugging me, but I had to drop everything and focus, become a doctor first. I packed everything else. I have to earn a living as a surgeon. Then I could take up writing again. So this business of mixing things up, you have to stop. What may interest you, you have to read wide and be educated by reading wide. Delve deep into subjects which you are assigned. Delve deep into them. And then after that, get a profession. And then if that, as you said, writing is your passion, do it. But if that's your calling, sacrifice everything else for it. But be careful. Readers are not that many. Be careful for adopting writing as a profession. That's all I have to advise you to do. Prioritize things, read widely, and be patient. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think on that advice from Prof, I'll hand over to the MC to continue the program. So thank you all very much for indulging us. Thank you.
So I'll also like to acknowledge a few people who are in attendance. We have Professor Kofi Dateba, who is the former Chancellor of the University of Ghana. We also have Michael Yao Ameko, who is the board chair of the Agbave Rural Bank, here on special invitation by Prof. We also have Dr. Asamoah Ba. He's a board chair. If you listen closely, he was mentioned in the public lecture. So he's the board chair of the University of Ghana Medical Center. He was one of the speakers in the 1997 GMA AGM, where the college was conceived, yes. So he was one of the speakers then. And then we also have Nana, sorry if I get the name wrong, but I think it's Nana Jane Appenting, who's the chief. We're honored to have you here. We also have a former Minister of State, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng. Prof, it's good to have you here. We have former First Lady, former Second Lady, Her Excellency Emisa Arthur. He's left? Okay. So, wonderful. So we'll go ahead with the program. Time is fast spent, and I'll invite Dr. Ayi to come and do the closing remarks.
Professor Lade, what does one say to you? I don't think thank you is enough, but that's not my duty anyway, but I needed to tell you that. A real surgeon poet. And I'm glad you came and gave us such an erudite lecture. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mamao, Etogbuyo Mamao, Nananum, Nime, Name, Asafwacheme, they too. All too soon, we've come to the end of this remarkable lecture. It's been given in a very different way. This is not the way you would think a lecture of this nature should go. And I'm really, really pleased about that, because I have always believed that each of us is versatile, and that many of us have forced ourselves into straitjackets and are complaining that others made us so. And I'm glad that, Prof, you mentioned that when we prioritize our lives, we will find out that, like the professor who's now heading power, you can be a surgeon and you can also be a writer. I know many ladies, they are distinguished in their careers, but they can sew very well, they can bake very well, they can do so many other things with their hands. That is how we have been wired. We are all multi-talented. We are all multi-talented. Let's distinguish formal education from education. We go to school in a formal way, but we need to remain educated for life. And that is where we find ourselves. We go through the formal structures, but then later on, we find ourselves and we contribute our utmost to nation building. The insights that have been shared have illuminated the progress we have made and the challenges that have spurred our growth. So we leave here today not only with deeper understanding of the journey of this college, but also with a shared vision of the road ahead. Let us carry the lessons we have learned and the inspiration we have gained from this event into our own individual daily endeavors. Let us continue to foster an environment of collaboration, innovation, and continuous improvement in our medical postgraduate training programs. As we move forward, let us remain dedicated to nurturing the talents and aspirations of young medical professionals, some of whom may be also very good in the arts, playing the guitar, playing the keyboard, singing, none of which would make them less great doctors and professionals. We are created to impact other lives. That is what brings us fulfillment. And for the students here, I'd like to challenge you. Your parents have done you no wrong. The schools have done you no wrong by giving you the subjects you're studying. You do yourselves wrong when you decide that that is the only pathway to life. Even during your school age, there are many opportunities to learn other things. My grandchildren are learning Chinese in their spare time. They are also playing games in their spare time. You also have spare time. Learn to do something other than what you're studying, and you'll become a better person. Remain empowered as students. That's the value of reading. Your phones should not just give you games. Your phones should expand your knowledge. What does AI do? What can AI do, for example? Nobody will teach you in the classroom. but Dr. Google can do all that for you. We are raised to become leaders, researchers, caregivers, and other people who will shape the future of medicine and healthcare in Ghana. I'm confident that the next 2 decades of medical postgraduate training in Ghana will be marked by even greater achievements and advancements. And I believe that AI will be a cutting-edge opportunity for better healthcare. On behalf of the organizing committee and everyone who has contributed to the success of this event, I extend my heartfelt thanks, especially for finding me fit to sit first in an uncomfortable chair and then later in a very comfortable one. As we leave here today, let us carry the torch of knowledge, innovation, and compassion that will light the way for generations to come. All of us will make Ghana a better place. All of us. And we shortchange ourselves if we don't. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Ayer. Another round of applause for her. Such wise words. So before we go, I have an announcement for us all. So in line with AI being one of the fundamental and foundational structures of the college, we have a target for our 20th anniversary, and that is to build simulation centers in Kumasi and Accra. This is very important to the training of medical doctors, and we would like to call on all of you to support us. We have a fundraising dinner, which is going to be held on the 25th of August at the Marriott Hotel. Our target is 2 million Ghana cedis. It sounds like a lot, but we can get there. And tickets are currently available at the registration table. So we call on individuals, corporate bodies, institutes, and NGOs who want to support us. You can get tickets from the desk. If you want to do more, you can contact Munira, who is the secretary to the planning committee, and she would be glad to show you the ropes. So next we have Dr. Hannah Ayete, who is going to give us the vote of thanks. She's also a member of the planning committee and an oncologist at Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Thank you very much, Florence. Usually, before the vote of thanks, everyone else has thanked us. Thank you very much. I'm grateful for the honor accorded me to give the vote of thanks for this August 2nd public lecture as part of our 20th anniversary celebration. First, I'd like to thank the Lord God Almighty for graciously giving us this beautiful day to have the lecture. Secondly, I'd like to thank our speaker, Professor Lade Wasonu, with an Asante Gu on the E, for an excellent lecture delivered on Inception, Sankofa, and AI. It was an exceptional experience, and very important information on the roadmap to the college was given, the date and the way forward, in a very poetic fashion, I must say. Thirdly, I would also like to acknowledge our distinguished members of the high table, Chairperson Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi, Council Chair Professor Yawedu Jemfi, College President Professor Samuel Deborah, Vice President of Division of Surgeons Professor Pius Agbenoku, Vice President Division of Physicians and 20th Anniversary Planning Committee Chair Dr. Justin Ansa, Rector Professor Richard Adanu, Moderator Dr. Rita Lassen-Reindorf, Nananum Nime Name Togbi Boatre and wife, Our distinguished invited guests, all the ambassadors, you've been acknowledged already. Reps of banks, members of Cocoa Board, Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, Ghana Education Service invitees, Ghana Health Service in the Volta region, Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture, the National Health Insurance Initiative, NHIA, Institute of Economic Affairs who were invited, some of whom may be online, NGOs, libraries, Poetry Connect, Dabala Senior High Technical students, Presec Ligon students, ARCO International School, Achievers Ghana, UNESCO. Then to our past presidents and rectors of the Ghana College, Vice Rector Dr. Henry Lawson here, faculty chairs and secretaries, fellows, members, residents, all those joining us online, members of the general public, journalists, planning committee members of the 20th anniversary, Ghana College staff, masters of ceremony for today's public lecture. Excellent work done. May the Lord bless you richly for joining us and for coming. I'd like to once again say thank you to Professor Ladi Osonu. We cherish your wisdom, perfectionism, and grace. I was blown away when I heard the apt attention to detail in preparation towards the public lecture. God bless you and continue to grant you divine health and strength. Ayuko, thank you very much.
On that note, we would like to invite to the podium a seasoned man of God to commit us to God, Very Reverend Professor Johnson K. Asamoah Jedu. Papa Sofo, please let's give it up for him. In my prophetic self, may your clapping be $10 million for you.
Thank you. Let us stand and go in the blessing of God. Let us pray. Eternal God and Father of our and for the privilege of being together to listen to your dear servant, the accomplished Professor Ladi Osonu. I want to thank you for his life's work and the ways in which he has impacted this world, his own generation, and those after. We are grateful to you for this institution, the College of Physicians and Surgeons, and the men and women through whose knowledge and work you bless humanity, lift people from lows unto highs, restore hope and confidence in times of fear, loss, and peril. You are a God of restoration. So I want to thank you that after 20 years, the institution is doing well. We trust that the next few decades ahead of them will see them moving onto greater heights, continue to be a blessing to our nation and beyond. We are leaving this place. We pray that your presence will accompany us as a pillar of cloud every day, pillar of fire every night. You know each one of us by name. May we be blessed. May the works of our hands be blessed. May this institution blossom, live to your glory and the blessing of your people. Grace, mercy, and peace from God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, rest and abide with each one of you, now and always. Amen.
Thank you all very much. So we'll be going out for our pictures. We also want to acknowledge our media, our vendors. CES, thank you so much for the coverage. It's been fantastic on YouTube and Facebook.